Be easy, baby. Your tummy's upset. We're doing an early one this morning. Well, 9 o'clock's early for me. Not to get up, but to do one of these. Definitely early. I like later in the day, or at least later in the morning. Like what I used to, like 10, 11, when we used to do our walks, right? So, as we go our separate ways, here's something a lot of, and I mean a lot, of religious people that don't even know about their own religion. How many of you know that there was a separation in church 500 years, a little bit more, before Martin Luther declared a separation between Protestant and Catholic? Raise your hand. Anybody? Anybody know that? It's called the Great Schism. It was 1027. So literally 1,000 years after the whole even ideology of Christianity started. But even then, you got to realize that Christianity, from the time that Christ was here, because it's an interpretation of his teachings, and even him, he wasn't a Christian. He was a devout Jew, like all of them. And a lot like his teachings, they were just basically, he wasn't looking to create a new religion. He was just pointing out the hypocrisies of their own religion to them. Much like I'm doing right now. Alright? Don't say I'm saying it. If you think that, that's you, not me. I'm just pointing out the similarities. That's it. Giving you a concrete image to look at, to understand and reference back to of what I'm talking about. He was a devout Jew. Always had been, always will be. If anything, he spoke Greek, because that was the universal language back then. And within, 200 years of his death, even that got taken, twisted apart, and bastardized. And do you know why the Great Schism happened? Anybody? Anybody? It came down to something as simple as the West wanted rigid structure and adherence. Speaking Latin, nothing else. Follow the dictates of the church, which were set up by Constantine and his council. Almost 800 years before? So yeah. And then, of course, Eastern philosophy. A good way to let me put that out. A good way to actually look at it, ladies and gentlemen, a good way to look at it from a modern sense would be the difference between somebody who is religious today and someone who follows that New Age spirituality that I hate. Right? The same difference is that it's literal. West was rigid adherence, discipline, hierarchy, all of that. Like, keep everything in place the way that Constantine set it up. And then in the East, it was as simple as, okay, they're speaking Latin, we're closer to Greek, we're going to speak Greek, and then we're going to go off of intuition, spirituality, the beauty, like the meaning of life. More of, you have the professor side on the west, I guess you'd say, and then you'd have the philosopher side on the east. And it was something as simple as that. And I keep coming back to this. Why don't you question your own history? That's what I keep coming back to. What I keep coming back to is, why don't you question your own history? We are all born into this life, and we're born into families, and these families have ideals, and these families have beliefs. If you're lucky enough, you might be born into a family that allows you to search knowledge out for yourself and let you figure out what you believe in. Most of us aren't that lucky. Anybody that does that is usually looked down on. They're shunned. Just nothing. You all right?
Right.
I mean, I might come down hard on religion. I might come down hard on spirituality. But I'm not somebody that was encouraged to educate themselves. I'm not somebody that was encouraged to seek out the truth. I was just one of those that noticed it from a very early age. You know, it really is a curse. Being that kid that sits in class and they tell the story of Jesus walking on water. And even my simple little 3-4-year-old mind is like, how? Why? We can't do that. So how can he? Oh, doesn't make sense. Sorry. Well, you gotta have faith. It's funny how my 3 or 4-year-old mind could already capture the realization, could already see beyond the lie. If this universe wouldn't let me do it, they're not going to let him do it. Right? Because you can't have it both ways, ladies and gentlemen. You can't have it both ways. You can't say that he was just a man, and then turn around and say that because he was the son of God, he could turn water into wine, and he could walk on water, and he could generate loaves of bread and more fish out of a small sample size. Don't work like that. Fairy tales, just like everything else. The only difference is this fairy tale got taken and used as a control mechanism for every human being on Earth. Them's facts. The problem is that Yeshua really was just some form of self-help guru.
I heard you coming. You coming?
Hold on.
They're still okay.
She's okay. What he was preaching, if you sit down and read the words, he didn't say worship God. He said live a godly life. He said the kingdom of heaven is inside you. All of that.
Bob is calling you.
All right, I'll be in a little bit.
Okay.
All of that shows me one thing. People want attention today. What? I guess we'll finish this later. I'm not supposed to do this right now. To be continued.